Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 4 of our commentary for The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and you know, it's a good game with some
good frames.
Oh, I really like the eye-opening animation. That was really good.
Saved it with a rhyme. Yeah, the 3-frame eye-opening animation.
Oh, hey. You take what you can get.
Yeah.
What the?
It's nice that they kept that in for the improved Wii U version. So this is the King of Red Lions, who, I don't get the sense from the people I've talked to that he's one of the more beloved Zelda companions, but I don't know. Again, this is probably my personal bias shining through, but I always liked him.
So, I have a question. And this is probably
Yeah.
spoilers for later down the road for people who haven't played this game before. Was he cursed? Is this like a punishment?
No, I think he's just using the boat as a vessel to talk through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier, like, I feel like the ending of the game is already like really strong, but I feel like it would have probably been maybe one of the strongest endings, if not already, but like even stronger if there was just like more, I don't know, bonding with the King of Red Lions throughout the game, I guess. Instead of just like,
Yeah.
alright, well, I'm here in case you need to get places. We'll talk sometimes, maybe.
Well, this is just like the Nintendo, like, justifying the new gameplay mechanic through a character thing that's in, like, every Nintendo game.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
He's this game's Cappy, more or less.
Sorry,
A game about sailing with a talking boat in it.
I forgot how good the music was in Wind Waker. I'm jamming already.
Oh, yeah. And we haven't even started gameplay. Windfall Island's got one of the best town themes in the game. Actually, the only town theme in the game, because
It's
it's
the only
pretty
town
much
in
the
the game.
only proper town.
Hey, Rito Island is a town, technically.
That's just a big cave.
Rito Village.
Oh, here comes the bullies. Sharks. Jets.
Yeah, I thought about doing their side quest here on the first visit, but ultimately decided not to, just for the sake of pacing. Instead, I just decided to talk to every random character I came across. Not everyone, though. Just people... Mostly just people along the critical path, like these pigs.
For as much as people gave this art style crap back in the day, the every character's face is different. Like, they put love into each character model.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not really a fair comparison, but, like, you know, I guess Ocarina and Majora did a pretty good job of having, like, distinct NPCs, but, you know, you will come across, like, oh, it's the default soldier model copied and pasted over here.
Yeah.
Or, like, all the bombers look the same in Majora, but here, I don't think there's a single NPC that's, like, exactly the same character model. Except for maybe, like, Tingle's brothers, but it's more played for a gag than, like, we ran out of time.
Yeah. I feel like all
Hello,
the
Mr.
3D
Postbox.
Zelda games, I feel like all the 3D Zelda games have very, like, NPCs that are very distinguishable from one another, for better or for worse, in some cases.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to remember them. Looks at Twilight Princess clowns. Or most of that game's horrifying, uncanny NPCs.
The Twilight Princess freaking mutated clowns. Of course,
You know
I'm
what?
talking about the people from the starting village.
You know what? I gotta give him this. Twilight Princess gave us some pretty cool-looking Gorons, at least, so...
Yeah.
Credit where it's due.
Is
And
this
then
supposed
Breath
to
of
be
the Wild gave us cooler looking well, I don't know. I like the
Okay.
Gorons a lot better in Breath of the Wild.
Well, they're more fun.
Yeah.
More expressive.
Yeah.
Anyway, showing this guy off because I'm playing on hero mode,
Juice shop.
so there are no heart drops at all. So mostly you're going to be, if you're playing on hero mode, you're going to be mostly relying on fairies and potions to stay alive. You know, apart from just not getting hit. Unfortunately, we can't buy a potion from that guy yet because we don't have any chew jelly or a bottle.
Or me and our buddy Ethan did that mode on the Wii U version of Twilight Princess, and we used the Ganondorf amiibo for extra hellacious difficulty.
Oh yeah, you guys actually finished that, didn't you?
For better or worse, the first third of that game was a struggle.
Yeah.
Although I don't think we died after the first 3 dungeons. I don't think we ever died after that because we just like constantly were full of potions because we're like, we're gonna need these.
Well, I mean, in Zelda, once you get a bunch of hearts stockpiled, it's pretty uncommon to die in the newer games.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Just because enemies generally deal out less damage. Even on the higher difficulties, like, you can usually plan ahead and not really have to worry about dying all that much.
Oh, you can get the super sale in this version, can't you?
Yeah. Sorry for talking to that guy a bunch of times. I thought he was going to say something different. He has a side quest later that I was trying to,
Trying to
get
trigger.
a... Yeah, trying to just kind of sow the seeds of what's going to happen later, but didn't seem to want to talk to me. Also, this is a change in the Wii U version. In the original version, the only mandatory thing you had to do on Windfall Island was talk to this guy, pay him 80 rupees, and you'll get the sale, and you can leave immediately. Not so in the Wii U version, because they added Miiverse functionality to this game.
Oh boy.
If you don't know what Miiverse is, basically Nintendo's version of a social media platform, which was exclusive to the Wii U. Well, I guess there was a browser version, but it was mostly just like Wii U and 3DS owning people.
The operative word being was.
Yeah, because as of... When did Miiverse go down anyway? Was it like a year ago?
I don't
2
remember.
years?
It was before the Switch was even out.
Was it?
I think so. Because I remember seeing like tons of people just posting whatever they wanted on Miiverse like the last week because they're like, the mods don't care.
It's a wild west.
Yeah.
Nobody has a Wii U anyway. But yeah, this... So anyway, Miiverse was the integration of Miiverse was one of the big selling points for this remaster. For the purposes of like sharing information and hints about how to complete the game, which, I mean, I don't think Nintendo is familiar with the concept of game facts or any kind of walkthrough that isn't, doesn't originate from Nintendo itself, but I mean, there was that alternative if you wanted to use Miiverse for that.
I feel like the addition of the bottles, sorry to interrupt, but it was like, it was by one young developer who had played Dark Souls and was like, hey, we can have them leave messages for other players.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and those messages would manifest themselves as tingle bottles, which you could find along the shoreline of different islands, and sometimes they'd have like a little drawing attached, or a pictograph taken with the pictograph box, which we'll be getting in this part. And I just realized I went like way too in depth with that and kind of got off track. Like I said, in the original game, all you had to do was talk to the guy, buy the sale, and you could leave. In this one, he tells you he was stranded here with one other person, but that person was immediately arrested and put in jail. And you have to go and save him before he will sell you the sale.
Hey, right.
Which is fine. But there's one little bit of pacing that was kind of thrown off by that change in like objectives, which we'll see here once we exit this building.
Oh.
But this is the man we have to rescue. One Tingle A. Tingleson.
Oh my god, his feet.
So who
What
runs
feet?
this jail?
The
And were they
town.
mad when they saw that he escaped?
It's
They're
Bart.
an autonomous collective!
I know who runs this jail. I know why it's so ill-guarded. It's because of that dang lazy Barney Fife.
Oh, God. Andy, have you ever seen a man dressed like this? He's dangerous!
Now, Barn, you can't be judging people based off their clothes choices. I'm sorry, my Andy
Rule number 1 of the Windfall Island jail. Obey all rules. Rule number 2, do not write on the walls. as it takes a lot of work to erase writing off of walls.
I like how that Andy Griffith impression slowly turned into Eeyore.
Mm-hmm.
So on the whole Miiverse thing, last night I was actually watching some videos about just like it was like you know those videos about like secrets in games and stuff like that. Except it was a short like collection of videos that was about quote unquote secrets in games that were actually just like when you're a kid and you're like, oh my god, like maybe there's something in the cave under the ice in Zora's domain. That kind of stuff.
We kind of misinterpret something as more than it really is.
Yeah, and it's just kind of. It
sorry
made me
about
real
this.
nostalgic. Just. Oh boy.
Yeah, it was as soon as that cutscene ended, it prompted me to like. How would you like your Miiverse? How would you like your Miiverse notification? It was just like off.
Yeah. I mean, it made me think about how like that's just like I guess a time capsule or whatever. Back in the days when the internet wasn't as I guess deeply interwoven with everything we did, and it was still just kind of earlier on in the stages, so we couldn't really just like look things up, and we didn't have all the information at our fingertips, so there was a lot more room or even necessity for just imagination and coming up with stuff, which I think might have I mean, it also the whole just not having as many games at our disposal was part of it too. But
well, yeah, you got more into the ones that you did have.
Yeah, like
you kind of had to like squeeze every ounce of value you could out of them.
Yeah, like how in Smash Bros. 1 and Melee, I'd play with my siblings and we'd always do like weird custom rules for stuff. To I don't know.
Did you guys ever get suckered in by the rumors about like, if you defeat 20 enemies in Cruel Melee, you can unlock Sonic and Tails, or like finding Mew under the truck, or like you said, like unfreezing the Zoras in Zora's domain? Did you guys ever like buy into that stuff?
I don't know how many I like heard from other people or play things on the internet and tried to figure it out, but I know for a fact, like, I tried everything I possibly could to unfreeze Zora's domain, not because I thought that there was something, or not that because I saw the little cave underneath it, but because I was like, I really like Zora's domain, why is it frozen?
It's just kind of depressing.
This is There has to be a way to like unfreeze it and save the Zoras, because that's how things work. There's always happy endings and all that. Like I'm an adult now, and I can I can do things and help the people.
That was how Dan lost his innocence.
Yeah.
He realized there are some people that you in fact cannot save.
Some fish.
So anyway, we kind of talked over it, but what bothers me about making the Tingle bottles required in order to leave the island is that, required in order to buy the sail, is that if you go rescue Tingle, chances are you're going to go and get the Picto Box, and there are all of those nice little trapdoors in that maze that kick you out right next to the King of Red Lions. So it was like, every time I play this game, it was like, go get the sail, mess around on the island for a little bit, and then when I'm done, go do the stuff with Tingle, get out of the maze, and you're right next to the King of Red Lions. And it's a totally stupid and like OCD thing to get upset about, but like, don't go changing my games, Nintendo.
Well, it flowed better.
Yeah. Because here it's like we gotta talk to the guy, then we gotta go talk to. I guess you don't have to talk to the storekeeper twice if you know you have to go rescue Tingle, but it's still like, you know.
What if instead of the guy at the shop telling you that you have to save Tingle, they instead just made it so that you couldn't leave the island before saving Tingle? Like, you get into the boat, and then you're just sitting in it, and you just feel some, like, overpowering aura from the direction of the jail.
What's the matter, Link? Push A to hoist the sail.
Wait, why did they put Tingle in jail again?
That's where the overpowering aura is coming from. Did you see all the JoJo sound effects coming from it?
Oh god.
Link, I can't move.
This must be the work of an enemy stand.
There's some great evil behind us.
They probably threw him in jail because they heard about the racket he's running on his own island. Enslaving people to push that tower around day and night.
I mean, honestly, knowing Tingle, he probably arrived on the island and immediately tried to scam people out of their money.
He enslaves his own siblings.
Well, in Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, wasn't he, like, himself enslaved?
I don't remember, I mean...
like, he had to, pay off some guy that he borrowed rupees from.
Oh, yeah, I think he was in debt.
Yeah.
What's Tingle's Rupee Land?
It's the next game we're playing on this channel.
Oh no.
Dan, don't raise their expectations to impossibly high levels.
Wait, is this guy supposed
Speaking
to be
of
German?
raising expectations to impossibly high levels, this is the best thing ever. I love this guy.
The children on the island will be in great danger. But be warned.
You know, I actually feel like I can kind of relate to this guy. Like, he's kind of a boring and unassuming guy at work, but you get to know him a little more and you realize what a dork he is.
Using only 20 cannonballs.
And as you shall see, I am no good at this game whatsoever. I can't even hit the X's that I want to.
Wait, is this Minesweeper?
It's Battleship.
Oh.
But, like, is there a strategy to Battleship? Yes, there probably is, but...
I mean...
The problem here is that,
not putting all your X's right next to each other.
Yeah.
And leaving an entire an entire half of the board untouched.
Wait, what do you get if you win this?
I think if you get if you clear it, you get a heart piece, and if you clear it in 20 moves or less, you get a treasure chart, which probably just leads you to rupees, but you know, it's a collectible. So I think I got the heart piece eventually, but I'd like to see you guys play this difficult game.
I just love that you tried every direction but the right direction.
It's a game of chance. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, by the way, I didn't realize until... so, you know that one cannon game on one of the islands where you have to shoot the barrels disguised as or dressed up as pirate ships or whatever? And you aim the cannon and there's a little indicator that says what angle the cannon's at. And I didn't realize as a kid because I didn't understand physics, but it screws up it uses incorrect physics, I think. I don't know if there's like something weird with... I would assume that's not the case, that there would be... that for some reason heavier objects would behave differently when shooting them in a trajectory. But for some reason in the cannon shooting minigame, if you angle it beyond 45 degrees, the cannonball goes further.
Well, I'll try to show off that. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll try to show off that minigame later.
Because of physics, 45 degrees is the optimal angle to get the furthest distance when you're like slinging something, and the cannonball. 45 degrees is not the optimal angle in the cannon shooting minigame.
Man, I'm sorry to harp on about this, but the bloom lighting on these character models looks really bad. Or like the reflected lighting on them. Like, it looks so good when you're out in the sun and it's like all the shadows are nice and blocky and separated.
So, if you change the wind right, will that power the windmill?
Yeah. Well, you have to have the wind facing in the right direction and then step on a switch.
Oh. You have to stand on a Nintendo Switch? Those are expensive.
That's Nintendo's game. They manipulate, they take advantage of your naivete to get you to buy a second one.
So, if there's a guy...
I don't know.
If there's a guy with a German accent in a Zelda game, does that mean Hyrule exists?
Well, maybe it's like in Pokemon, where America exists because Lieutenant Surge is the lightning American.
Yeah, he's from Unova.
He moved to the continent of Kanto.
He even has a northeast or a New York accent.
Yeah. Well, in the anime he did.
Yeah.
In the game, he was just kind of a... He was Lieutenant Surge.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I wanted to do before leaving the island. So, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. When
Maybe
we
next
head
time we'll
out
complain
for...
some more about bloom lighting and physics.
Probably. See you then.
Bye, y'all.